PR Connections Radio presents
All right. I always talk about how those videos always get me, but that one doesn't get me as much as some of the other ones, Constance. I'm sorry that you had to not feel the other ones, but it's still a good video. Welcome back to Brisco Bridge to Foster Care in Nevada, brought to you by the National Youth Advocate Program. I'm your host, Trenton Brisco. Now, remember, I am not a legal expert. I do have years of experience in foster care, and I want you to remember that every state has different regulations and laws and all that. So if you hear something here, remember, we are in the state of Nevada. You might want to check your state to verify that that is true. Our purpose is to educate, empower communities across our state so caregivers, youth, and advocates know how to navigate the system with confidence. Today, I'm honored to welcome Constance English, founder and executive director of Siblings United Visitations. Constance is a licensed foster parent, a community advocate leading weekly support circles in Las Vegas, focused on healing, sibling connection, and trauma-informed restoration. Her work builds bridges where the system often builds walls. So that's why she's here. She's perfect fit for this show. She can help us understand more of the system from other angles. Constance, say hello to everybody. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you want to tell them.
Hello, my name is Constance English. I am the founder of Siblings United Visitation, just like Trenton has wonderfully said and stated. One of the things I want to say is thank you for anyone and all who is a part of the system that tries to get kids stability. We each and every one of us play a part, a major part. Some are a little bit more important than others, but we are all one created circle. So thank you for all that you do and watching the show. So when I say that, I want to make sure that what I say is only coming from the deepest part as a firsthand experience of all the services that are encircled around foster kids as a foster youth and how we can be able to better serve our community as foster youth for people that are doing such amazing work. So I never want people to take anything personal. When I say things, it's just more of an advocacy role, just to make sure that we highlight the little bit of time that we have and make sure that they're more impactful and intentional and can reach a lot of kids and do a lot of work, especially in support of the foster parents that are doing such an amazing job taking us into their homes in the first place. So
let me ask you, Constance. Now, at one point, you were a foster in the foster system, correct?
Yes, I was for 6 years. Yes.
6 years.
I got in at 12.
You lived in the system, so you come from the system. So you have a voice from the system. You're not just a person. And
yes.
let me ask you, one of the things that you focus on is the Siblings United Visitations. That's your organization.
Yes.
So you care a lot about keeping the siblings together, correct?
Yes, very much so.
Now, is that because you were a sibling group of your own, or is it something you saw as a child of other sibling groups?
No, I am a sibling group of my own that's very disconnected from siblings that I was separated from due to the system of last names. We didn't have the same last name, so they separated groups by last name at that time of what they consider full blood, half blood. And I think people forget that when you're kids and you're born and you're raised in a home, all of them are just your siblings. You don't know if someone's your half blood,
Right.
half not. That's just your sibling. So the system, it legally, from a legal perspective, it makes sense, but personally, it does not. It just creates a lot of void, and we become sisters and parents. We become siblings to kids that are in the foster home with us, but we don't become siblings to the people that are actually, even if it's our half blood, and we become very disconnected, and the system believes in wholeheartedly that we can be able to pick that match up and that torch up when we turn 18, when that's not rightfully so. We end up being strangers that meet each other, that don't know how to make a connection, and then we never really see each other anymore. The reason why it hurts us so much is your sibling is the only one that went through the trenches with you. Your sibling is the only one that will understand what you went through, and through that bond. And that's the only familial connection you have, especially if you're not reunifying with your parents or your familia. So your strongest bond would be with your sibling. So to treat them as so is very damaging to our culture. It's very damaging to the way that we end up aging out, because now we feel alone when we still are now all separately alone, but we could have been one if we were able to heal and go through that journey together.
I have to tell you, one of the things that I, as a foster care agency on my end, I push my parents to work with sibling groups. I want them to keep siblings together. And I think that's because I lived it as far as a foster home myself. When I had all the kids coming through my home, I think I was blessed to have about 5 different sibling groups. But
Amen.
one of the groups that I had, they had 7 siblings, and you can't take 7 in a home. So what I did was I got my father to become a foster home, and he took the 4 girls, and I had the 3 boys plus 3 other kids I already had.
Amen.
And we would just go to my dad's house every weekend. We had pool parties every weekend. We made sure the family was together, and it really made a big difference in how they all acted when they had each other. And their parents appreciated us actually as well, especially because we're Italian, and these parents loved that we were Italian, so that helped too. I can't name their names, but their kids were all named Italian names. So anyway, so I'm a big firm believer on siblings and keeping them together. Constance, last week, our last episode that we had, the gentleman told us that he was in foster care from age 4 all the way to age 9. And during the age when he was 9, the home that he went to, and he loved them there, he's with them the rest of his life from age 9. They had to break up his sibling group, and he had to choose which sibling he wanted to keep with him.
So hurtful.
And although he became amazing man today, but gosh, he was the oldest, so he was always taking care of his siblings.
I'm the oldest.
Choose to leave your sibling, and like you said, and he said they don't even know each other. It's unfortunate. So I really hope that anybody listening, Constance is on here to promote sibling. I agree with it. It's such an amazing thing. And on top of that, if you get a sibling group, they all kind of fall in because they have each other and they become more your family. If they don't have each other, they're missing something. They're never really truly able to become a part of you. And then when you bring their sibling in, like I did that one time. I had a kid for a while. He didn't buy in. All of a sudden, I found out he had a sibling that I could get. I took him. And all of a sudden, my kid fell in, man. He listened. He did everything. He had to lead by example because now his sibling is there. Change the game. So I just want to commend you for putting focus on that part of it, because I know how big that is, and I appreciate you for that. So tell me more about your sibling group. Tell me what we do on this show. Okay, we'll promote your group at the end of the show, really. But what we really do on this show is we want the listeners and the viewers, we want them to see what a kid from foster care went through with the good and the bad. And when they get the good, I want the parents to feel it. I want them to go, gosh, I want to make a child feel that way.
Yes.
And then they call me because they want to foster, because they just watched Constance talk about it. That's my goal. And and we're definitely going to promote what you do, but I want to focus on that right now. I want to focus on that part of it. I want to get in here.
Okay.
I want to feel you. No more hoopla.
Okay.
So tell me.
So I'll just start a little bit, just a little backstory with the siblings aspect. I would say generational trauma always goes hand in hand. You know, my grandmother was the first born of my grandmother and my great grandmother. And when she married, she already had her. And my grandmother was an alcoholic who gave her kids up, which was my mother. And her sisters, they adopted them and they were pretty well off. And then my mom didn't know my grandpa's side of the family because they weren't well off. So the summer when my mom was like, I think she was 14 when she was in El Centro, she met my grandpa's side. And at that time, he had the watermelon fields. And when she met my grandpa, she was a little boy crazy. And so the people that he used to bring with the watermelons, she fell in love with my dad. And at 17, she got pregnant with me. And when she got pregnant with me, even though she didn't know my grandpa, my aunt still made her go and stay with him. And he stayed in the hood. So she went from this nice, cushy life. That's why everyone's always to make fun of me. Why you talk the way you talk? Because my mom talked like this, but she raised me with my grandpa in the hood talking like this. So everyone, I never really fit in. They always made fun of me because they didn't understand why I talk like this. But my mom talked like this. So it was a very culture shock. And because of that, she ended up getting on drugs because she was removed from her family. And she always used to brag about that family, but I never met that family until we got in foster care. So my family, even though I tell people, I want people to stress the importance of what's normal to you may not be normal for the next person. Even though I grew up in a hood, my grandpa had 63 grandchildren. I was the first one born on his birthday. He had 9 girls, 2 boys. Everyone had like 6 kids. And I loved being at my grandpa's house because every weekend they get to drop off my cousins. And we used to, play together, do things together. When it was watermelon fields, my grandpa would wake up in the morning and put us in the back of his truck cab and be like, who's coming? And we would work the whole day from 4 in the morning all the way to 5 for our $1. At that time, $1 was a lot of money. And we thought we were rich. We could go to the store. We can buy little 10-cent candies and all this other different things. And we get to fight who gets to go with grandpa. With that also came with a sense of pride and togetherness with my family. We were extremely close. Like one of the things I tell people that gave you a sense of duty of being able to get up in the morning and just go and do something and earn something. I remember one of the things that used to happen too is birds of the feather flock together. If one person did something, my grandpa didn't have time to be yelling with 30 kids who did it something. So everyone got to whoop it. Everybody got the same whooping, everybody. So I remember you used to cry because it's like you just got to grandpa's house and you're like, oh, I haven't seen grandpa all weekend. Wait, why am I getting whooping? Who did something? Why? And you're freaking out. But I noticed that those type of moral codes stay with you because I remember when we got older, we held each other accountable when we used to play outside. I'm not getting a whooping. I'm not getting in trouble for you. So we'll try to jump the person that's doing something bad and it'll stop us because no one wanted to be held accountable for what somebody else was doing bad. Was that normal for other people? No, but in our code, in the hood, in the things that we grew up in, those things were normal. That was instilled in us. We never get in trouble for the truth. We always get in trouble for a lie because everybody life relied on that because we lived in the crack epidemic and it was a lot of shooting, a lot of gang violence and things. So even though that may look crazy to other people, that sense of loyalty and familyship was bonded. We were taken care of by the block, all those different things, the gang violence, that was very normalized to me. But also it was a sense of security and closeness that I would never get, the things that I found out and how I learned to survive in that type of atmosphere was my normalcy, even though it wasn't somebody else's normalcy. And I felt very loved and very connected and very accepted. So I always tell people that because later on, I wouldn't feel that, but it'll be very weird how it would come about. And it's like people think if this house looks bad, automatically these kids are not thriving. They're not doing the things they're supposed to do. So we need to remove and we need to intervene. But then we're placing them in these nice homes where kids are getting worse. Even though that I may be experiencing some type of poverty level, you're now putting me in a place that now I'm experiencing emotional abuse, but it looks pretty on the outside. So how would you know? You're right. So I think we need to be very careful with things like that. So my sisters, my mom ended up getting, she had me. She really didn't like me. I'm not saying she didn't. I think my mom loved me, but I was a reminder of what she lost. So she always made sure she said that. Like, where I could be like, if she gets mad or she gets
Right.
angry, she'll tell me these type of things. And I'm just like, why are you telling me things like that? So I was always at my grandpa's house because I felt my mother really didn't like me. And she was kind of man crazy. So she was always looking for the next man, So one of the men that she got was my sister's father. And at the time he was, I guess, her savior, but he wasn't good. He wasn't a good person. He looked good. My mom worshiped him, and we moved away from my grandpa's side of the hood to a better neighborhood, but now we're isolated. So the family that I grew up with, it wasn't no longer a thing. And my mom worshiped him. I always try to tell people also what I remember my mom trying to become a cop and an officer and stuff. And she's all these things we used to do together as a family, me and her. And it was just us. I used to sit on her back while she does push-ups, used to test her on her test. She had like this big heart for the community. All that kind of went away when this guy came around. So it hurts me to know that I knew my mom in all her stages, the ambitious person. Now she's a drug addict with this guy, and now he's molesting me. He's doing things. My mom is not listening. When I try to tell her, she'll beat me because he'll blame me for stuff because she thought I was trying to make her man go away. And I want to go to my grandpa's house. You're not going over there. You're not going to be telling our business. You're not going to be doing all these things. So I'm isolated, and these things are happening, and I'm being hurt by these things that are happening. So then when she had her first kid with him, it was my sister. It was okay for a little bit, but it still was.
How old were you at that point?
My mom had her first kid when I was 8 years old.
Okay.
So I was 8 years old when my mom. So the first 7 years of my life, it was good. It was me, my mom, my grandpa's and them. I had a good life. To me, I had a good life, even though it was riddled with gang violence, watching people get shot, killed,
Right.
stuff like that. That was my normal.
All you know. It's all you know. So
that's all I know. So I thought I had a good life. I thought I had it good. So now it's isolation, fear, don't know what to do, don't have anyone to call, getting beat all the time, and my mom worshiping her kids with this guy, and me and her not having a connection anymore. And then him doing stuff with me and my sister, like making us do stuff together. So it was a lot of bad things and trauma involved in him becoming a drug addict and watching my mom become a drug addict with him. It was very hard to watch. Me having to learn to survive, learning how to steal. A girl down the street taught me how to steal groceries from Lucky's. I don't know if you guys remember the grocery store Lucky's. I used to go grocery shopping and save trash, like bags that people had. And then I'll go to the back corner and fill the bags up and then walk out with the basket. So I didn't really know my dad at the time. I didn't meet my dad until I was 11 years old. So that's later on. But me and this guy just had a very contentious relationship because of the things. My mom, our house was a crack house. We lost everything. Guys coming in and whatnot, and I couldn't get to my family. You got to remember, I grew up in a gang family. My uncle created the gang because our street was so riddled with violence, and we had like the main street, like Martin Luther King. It was called Lakeview at the time, and that's where all the liquor stores and everything, and that's where the drug and the trafficking. We were one street over it. So when we were having all these shootings, I was in Bakersfield. So my uncle created Clifton Mob Crip. That's the street that we lived on. It was to protect us. So nobody could come on that street that didn't live on that street. But then he used to have back to school drives. He used to have Christmas. He used to for the whole block. And it was crazy because each house would take different leadership on cooking for us and taking care of the kids, making sure they're watching the kids outside. When that gang was created, it was like we were protected where we were able to go outside and play again and no one can get on the block. So I told people it was very weird when I start growing up and I hear people talk on gangs and they're like, oh, I'm from this. And I'm like, did you grow up on that street? I'm like, why would you bang a street that you didn't grow up on? So it's like my version of gang life was very different than other people's version because I thought that gang was to protect the street, the block. That's why you would have that. You wouldn't,
What age did you turn that you went into foster care?
So I was 12 when we went in. I met my dad at 11. I went into foster care at 12. So we went to basically all those things happened. Our house became a crack house. And my mom was trafficking guys in and out. They were so in their room that guys were trying to molest my sister and stuff. But since I was being used to molestation, I would sleep outside the room and things would happen to me. So nobody would get in the room with my sisters. Our turning point was when my mom had it was the third child. The third child she had was born, but she had a strawberry on her face, so it looked like she was abused.
Got it.
My mom was breastfeeding her, and she ended up having convulsions. And my mom was out at that time, and she was foaming at the mouth. So I had to call the 911. I had to go to a neighbor house, and then that's when the further abuse went with my mom because she thought it was my fault that the baby got taken away. So that's when I ran away and went to my grandpa's house. And then that's how I met my bio father, because he came and got me. And me and him had a very contentious relationship because the whole time he lived one street over, but he had his own kids. I'm the only kid outside of his marriage. He has 9 kids, and his wife was on crack too. So he was a single father. Wow. So anyways, so my mom finally came and got me like 6 months later. I didn't get along with my dad kids because I was mean to him, because he'll tell me to do something. And I'm like, I don't know you, and that's like, I was freaking out. And so his kids would beat me and jump me when he left. So I was happy when my mom came, and then we went to a homeless shelter for 30 days. After we went to the homeless shelter, she got us an apartment. And what saved me was a gangster of all people. He stopped me from getting molested. He came to the house and he was like, dude, I heard that there's a girl that you can touch. You can do all these things and she won't do nothing. She doesn't wake up. She doesn't this. Are you that girl? And I was just not trying to listen to him and stuff. And so he was telling me that he wants to help. He told me he wanted to help. If that's true, that if I go to school, he will take over watching my sisters and stuff, that this type of life for us, the only way you can get out is education. You got to educate yourself. You got to go to school. You got to take care. Like all of us, we're gone, but you're still young enough. You're in 6th grade. You have a chance. You need to go to school. And so I'm like, this guy's weird. Yeah, right. The next day, guess what? He was a fighter. He had all the drug dealers stopped from our house. He was the only one dealing drugs out of our house, but he'll give me $5, walk me to school, make sure I went to school, watch my sisters. When we went to the homeless shelter and we were disconnected, my mom ended up getting an apartment. My mom abandoned us at an apartment and we didn't know where she was for like 2 weeks. He popped up to the house and he would go and either beat my mom or give my mom drugs to come back home. And he will always make sure we had.
Sounds like he was a street foster home. You know what I mean?
I that's what I'm like. However you got it, God sent. That was my guardian angel, because I stopped being molested. I stopped all those different things. Yeah. And then my mom thought that they were going to come and get us, because I guess that's when I didn't understand why we had to move to Oklahoma. But at that time, my little sister was still in the system. We were going to have visits with her, but then my mom freaked out thinking they were going to take all of us. So then we moved to Oklahoma with her bio mom, and I never met her bio mom until we moved when I was 11 to Oklahoma. So that's how we moved to Oklahoma, and we moved to my sister's, and she was pregnant with the youngest sister at the time. And so she did try for a while to get herself together. And then we end up moving to the projects. We end up getting evicted for $35 in rent. Our rent was $10 a month, and my mom couldn't even make it happen. So we got evicted. After we got evicted, we went to a homeless shelter. We outstayed our time at the homeless shelter. She couldn't get it together. Then we went to a domestic violence home that she was saying that she was a victim of domestic violence. And that's where she abandoned us and never came back. So she never came back. She abandoned us. The people tried to wait out for like 3-4 days, but then my little sister, the second one, got 104 temperature, and they needed someone to sign off for us to be able to get help. Someone had to take the little girl to the hospital. So the cops came and got us, and then we ended up in a place like Child Haven. So that was my first introduction to Child Haven. It was a very traumatic experience, because you got to think, I've been the mom forever. I'm very close. I have an 8-month-old child with me. I have a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old with me. And the first thing they tell us when we got there is no kid under 5 can stay there. It's for kids 5 and up, because we were connected to the juvenile hall. After we already been through a lot of trauma and I've been protecting these kids all this time, now you're telling me we're about to be separated. And on top of that, they have to take all our clothes off and take us baths, because we might have lice. We might have all these procedural things that they're doing. And we're in this office, and I remember us being crying and were ugly, and they're taking flash of Polaroids. At that time, they have Polaroids, and they're taking pictures. Wow, they're explaining to me that they're about to take my sisters, and I'm freaking out because I don't know how to process this information because I'm only 12, and you're telling me this stuff. And it's like, wait,
you've been mama bear to those kids all these years.
Yeah, and it's like I'm freaking out because I'm like, what do you mean you're gonna take them where? Like, can I see? Well, we'll have a social worker contact you. Don't worry about that. And then that's when you're just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't, because now you got the 8-month-old clinging to you because she's always clinging to you. My mom used to beat the crap out of me because she called me mom one time, telling me I'm her reason why her life is all messed up. And it's like, at that time, she's my child. I'm 12. This is my child. You're trying to take my child away. You don't know what's going on. And they're ripping the other little ones away. So the 3-year-old and the 4-year-old left already. They had the same last name. They just took them. They had the same last name. And so I clinged to the 8-month-old because she had my last name. And I did not want to let her go. So for days they were trying to get her from me. And I wasn't letting her go. Like, she's sleeping in bed with me. I'm not letting you guys go. I'm not letting any of this stuff happen.
Constance, with time, we haven't even got to a foster home yet. So let's hold on. So what I want to talk about real quick is the viewers and listeners need to hear this, because what you just heard, that whole story of what Constance went through, her and her siblings, that no child should have to go through. So when you get these kids and you want to foster, and you get a kid in your home, and you get a sibling group or a broken up sibling group, I want you to think about this story right here. And when you think, well, what's wrong with them? Or why aren't they listening to me? Or what's wrong? Listen to this story. What do you think is wrong? I want you to remember stories like this and know that these kids are coming to your house from a whole nother walk of life that you have no idea about. And maybe you need to listen to stories like this so that you do have an idea about, and you can give them the grace they deserve for coming into your home at age 12, needing to be an adult and being split from a group that they were probably more bonded as siblings because of their bring-ups and because of the gangs and all that, stronger than any siblings that are normal in life. And yet here we are splitting them up. So I want you to think about that. So Constance, let's dive into your first foster home. We don't have much time, so let's dive into that.
So the first foster home after that I got to, I don't like talking about it, but she wasn't nice. She was very pretty. They got vouchers. She advocated for me to get vouchers and all these other things. But you went and got me clothes that didn't fit me so then she could wear them. And then she would give them to me after she wore them. She had a bunch of kids in the house. And since she saw the maternal factor to me and she knows about the last name, she promised me if I raised the other kids that she had in her house, she would get my little sister for me. So I did that. And those are the things that I had to go through. I had to keep bargaining to see my sisters. I had to keep my anger at bay to see my sisters and basically not be heard. I was in 3 foster homes because after that I went to another foster home.
And let's help the viewers here. Were you ever with your siblings ever? At
the end. So yeah, my mom, my grandma's sisters that took my mom, the rich people, they got us. But the thing is, I had to testify in court.
To me, that's different. That means you got taken out of the system. While you were in the system, you never had your siblings.
No, so they didn't want me. They just wanted the kids because she couldn't have kids. So they told me if I testify in court against my mom, they'll take my sisters and they just won't take me. So that's what happened. So we were in foster care for a year because they were refusing to take me. And Oklahoma state laws didn't separate kids. So they tried a whole year to make me stay and they just take the kids. So finally they took us all but separated me to, my grandma has 5 sisters. So I kept spending time at different sisters' houses while they took care of my sisters. And then when I tried to talk to social workers about it, they're like, but your sisters are thriving. If we take you, we're gonna have to take your sisters back to Oklahoma. Can't you just suck it up a little bit? You're okay.
So how old were you at this time?
At 13.
My God.
So my last 6 years was sucking up so my sisters can have a life.
I was 13. I mean, we're children, man. We're still children at that age.
So I was separated from my sisters. And that's why I say people sheeple us and they don't realize the damaging aspect of it, because my sisters were all I had. But my sisters don't like me. They don't talk to me. They treat me like the way my aunties don't talk to me, and I'm by
Right, 'cause
myself.
they taught her that. They probably taught them
And
that.
it hurts. And when I say, I don't want to cry or get
Wow.
emotional, but it hurts because everything I am is for them. And one thing I decided to do was never talk about the past. No matter what, I felt the past need to die with me, even if with that screwed up rich family, at least they got a future. They don't remember the hood, they don't remember any of those things. I don't want to talk to them about anything bad. And I gotta show them that I'm strong too. So I went to school on my own. I wanted to show those rich people I can do it too, even though you never gave me a chance. I did it by myself. I took care of myself. And I try to be there for my sisters the best way I can. And they told me that I'm fake and I'm phony. They don't want to be around me, but they said that I'm just, they say because I don't talk about the past, but I can't give you seeds you can't water. This is your future and your shot. And I need to make sure that this generational trauma dies with me. So I hold it to myself. And it's a big burden to carry, knowing that I will never really see them again. But at least I love them enough not to give them more drama and leave them alone and be happy that they will never go through this.
Constance, I've known you for a short time. You're an amazing, amazing woman. I think what you've been through has made you who you are today. I would say this: the past is the past. You got to move past and go to the future and change it. But you do need to talk about the past in order to correct your mindset and move to the future, or else you're never going to heal. So,
I'm talking about for my sisters. It's not their past. They don't know nothing about it, so they don't need
you
it.
don't want to talk in front of them.
Yeah, that's what. So they call me fake and phony because I won't talk to them about it. Why? It's not your future. Like, look at you guys are bougie girls. You guys, what can you do with that?
But Constance, here's the good part, right? Without any bad, there is no good, and without any good, there is no bad. And guess what? Because you went through this, you are now an angel, a walking angel that is out there advocating for sibling groups in foster care. Yes. And that's why it happened to you. The Almighty said, this has to happen to Constance, and now she's going to handle it and make sure it doesn't happen to others. And that doesn't mean you're going to correct it for all, but that means you're going to put your voice out there and you're going to be another voice to help them. And we appreciate you for that. I wanted to dive more into what you do now. So since we talked about that, what is it you do? Let's try to sum this up quickly. Give them the website and all that. Tell them about what your motive is, and go ahead.
Right now, my only goal is to get kids naturalized visits. It's like I don't want anyone being labeled anymore.
Can you please explain to the viewers what that means?
Okay, so kids right now will have a foster care day, and then everyone wants to donate and do it just like the homeless shelter on Christmas Day. And everyone wants to highlight that this kid is a foster kid. They no longer have their own individual identity. I want kids to have more personalized visits, and we create that ability for them to get that. If people are donating 25 tickets, that's little things that we're asking right now. If you have a business or anything where kids could go karting or racing or anything arcades, give us 25 tickets, whether it be a week, a month, or whatever it is. We're going to make sure that we provide for those kids to be able to have naturalized visits with their siblings that are not, because we get basically location trauma if you're doing it at the same place all the time in visitation. We want these kids to have natural experience and be happy with their siblings, even if it's going to a karate studio together, if it's going to a paint palace together. We just want to be able, and then my for-profit is Old English Transportation Services. Right now, we're asking the community to help us get vans and cars so we could be an Uber for foster kids. They never get to go to dance practice. They never get to go to all these different things because there's no transportation for them to do that. I want to be the transportation that lets them know you can have a naturalized life as well. And we will take care of the transportation and get these kids to the visits and make sure that we communicate to all the community partners involved.
Yes. And sum up what you're saying, Constance, is there's times where they want to get visits with their siblings. So when you're at different foster homes or different agencies, they have a day where they meet up and go and do that. Well, she wants to make sure that it's a bigger experience, not just like a little meetup at a park. She wants to be like, hey, let's go play laser tag as a family, let's get them all together. So if anybody wants to help donate towards that, you can reach out. If they have free tickets, maybe you can get tickets if you get free tickets, you can contact Constance and say, hey, I think I could help you with this. It doesn't take much. I know some of you out there, I know a lot of entertainment companies out there that have tickets that they give away last minute, but maybe you'll know ahead of time. I also know a lot of companies out here that have buses and vans, do a lot of transportation in Vegas. So I want you guys to reach out to Constance as well. Say, hey, look, if we get one bus to work for us on a Sunday that you guys don't have business on a Sunday, I'm sure Constance would love you to have your bus on a Sunday. She'll pick a date, and now, bam, we got you involved, and we'll make sure that she puts you out there big time. You're helping out these sibling groups stay together. Experiences are huge. Getting them experiences. I love it. I love what you're doing. I'm sure we could probably have another episode one day. I think that's what we're going to do down the road. So stay on. But Constance, thank you for sharing your wisdom, your heroism, you're fighting for the healing in foster care. Thank you for the National Youth Advocate Program for making this this episode possible. If you're listening and you want to get involved or support a sibling reconnection program like this in the community, call me anytime. My number's right here. You also have access to Constance. Constance, what's your website?
My website is in the process right now, and it's Siblings United Visitation. And one of our slogans is where the promise creates the journey.
And what's your phone number, Constance?
It's 725-256-4737. And my email iscenglish@Siblings United Visitations.
Awesome. So if you don't want to reach out to Constance, you can always reach out to me. I'll get on. I call Constance. She's a part of my village, my Knights of the Round Table. Yes. So call me anytime. So this has been Reclaimed Roots on the Brisco Bridge to Foster Care in Nevada. I just want to say thank you for caring and thank you for listening. Constance, thank you for being here and thank you so much. And we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.